Welcome, everyone. I hope that you and all your friends and relatives are safe while humanity itself had underwent a pandemic involving the C virus and getting some sort of vaccine ready to go as soon as possible, so that everybody can calm down from all this ruckus floating about all over social media. With that said, let's get right to it. First, we've been informed by my longtime partner and co-host Dazzy here that Paradox Interactive, Colossal Order, and Tantalus Media have teamed up to produce the next major expansion to Cities Skylines named Sunset Harbor. As of me writing this, we do have a video in collaboration with my associate Skull here in production as we speak.
Long story short, everyone, Sunset Harbor introduces the fishing industry, new mass transit options, and important city services. Increase your city's entertainment with the Aviation Club and fly with passenger helicopters and private planes. Create cities across 5 new maps and build fishing infrastructure to develop your agricultural industry. Keep in mind that we'll also be getting a new radio and creator pack with it.
We'll give our thoughts and discussions once we have the latest DLC installed so that we can work its own video on the channel. For now, Dazzy here has some news that regards Crash Team Racing, Nitro Fueled, and that me and him have been discussing the game behind the scenes for some time. So, why don't you fill us in on Nitro Fueled, Daz?
Certainly, Mango. As you may know, this channel has been through nearly 1 year of videos related to Nitro Fueled. I realize that since Beanox and Activision stated that after Gasmoxia's Grand Prix that future Grand Prix will cease production. This is common as not all games last forever in terms of post-launch support, but keep in mind that Beanox will provide new content for the game, even without the Grand Prix now. Since my co-host Mango here completed his quick reviews on all 8 of them, we've been meaning to do a retrospective for some time since 2020 began. Although, I did some thinking and turns out that we need to revamp our upload schedule as posting new content on YouTube via Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays just won't do since a lot of new stuff has come our way to try out. So Tuesdays and Thursdays will have to do. With that being said, we do however have something for you all today, and that's Crash Team Racing's Grand Prix retrospective. Unfortunately, the creator of this video didn't record any voiceovers during this presentation since he has decided to make this retrospective include his own commentary, as vectoring and capturing gameplay footage took a huge chunk of development into making this video meeting its own premiere date.
For now, it's time to start off April 20th, 20 with our first major video presented to you all watching this at home or on the go. Thanks to our megalo community within our Discord server and our followers on Twitter for making this possible during times of this pandemic involving the C virus. Wash your hoods and stay healthy, everybody.
Just a quick editor's note, this video was long in development since we did our overview on the Gasmox and JP back in February. With that being said, enjoy the video.
To start off our retrospective, we have our very first Grand Prix, the Nitro Tour, featuring Tana and the Nitro Squad. Its members, Isabella, Liz, Megumi, and Amy, and they're all basically tearing up the tracks in Twilight Tour. It's no stranger that this will be my first Grand Prix that I ever tackled in when I ever first got the game. Well, put it like this. When this Grand Prix went live, I was barely prepared. I did not expect the amount that was added to the pit stop and the nitro gauge itself to be packing. So I basically grinded through 9 days of doing this, and it was basically brutal. I barely got through with it within 25 days because it lasted until the 28th of July of last year. And just to point this out, it wasn't my intent to basically grind out that badly. It's just the fact is that, like I said, man, when the competition rises, man, people will be gunning for you. So what I had to do was make sure that all the characters were, bought out from the pit stop. Make sure that I was able to complete the Grand Prix itself, like get over 42,000 points to get Motorsport Tana, and the other characters also got Motorsport skins. So it makes sense since it was themed around them. And the track itself is inspired by the levels from Crash 3, most notably the Egyptian and Saudi Arabian levels. So, put this in perspective, I really had a blast with this Grand Prix. It was a start, but it can do better, most notably for its length. Now, we know that the overall coin payout would have been 50 coins if you just played offline, But the fact is, that's pretty much how it was. But if you played it online with the multipliers, plus on weekends, it would have been at least 500 coins, as I presumed. But it's pretty much there in the north. Like I said before, Tana, Amy, Megumi, Liz, and Isabella were well received by the fans, so it makes sense that for at least the next couple Grand Prix, they'll get some new additions, with Tana getting more than the others, since, like I said, she was a main character throughout Crash's, the series' canon. Since, the podium, well, put it like this, Tana was canon in the overall story, but before she got, written out of the overall canon, but she was brought back. But for, Amy, Isabella, Liz, and Megumi, they were basically spin-off characters that finally got to shine a light of day. They got voiceovers, taunts, and even personalities, so it's more than make up for it, in my opinion. The cards for it were definitely a good addition, and funny enough, they were all cards from Tag Team Racing, Bandabuggy, LeChucks, and the Rocket. The Rocket was from Nitro Kart 2 on iOS, so yeah, that's pretty much how I would put it there. But the wheels are Twilight wheels. I'm like, okay, I'll dig it, but I didn't buy none of them since I did not have the funds to get them, and pretty much the Grand Prix only lasted for 25 days back in July, so it makes sense that I had to wait until a later Grand Prix to get them all if I had a huge whoop of coins. But throughout this Grand Prix, Tana was my go-to throughout that Grand Prix, because like I said, Tana is one of my favorites, and the fact is that Crash finally got his girlfriend back, I was pleased. So I'm hoping that for the next segment of the video, I would definitely see what else they have in store in terms of what's to come, as I'm gonna be honest with you, the Nitro Tour was definitely the hardest. It took me 9 days to complete it, and the fact is that I had to make sure I stay up on top of the top 5% leaderboard in order to get the new card. So, without further ado, I'll leave you to it. Leave a comment down below what you thought of the Nitro Tour as we move on to the very next segment of the video. Well, retrospective, but... Okay, Back in Time was a weird one, as when it was first announced before the game came out, as the first roadmap of Grand Prix was coming. We know that Tana and Megumi, Liz, Amy, and Isabella were going to make the cut in the first Grand Prix, but the second Grand Prix, it involved baby characters. I mean, I can understand Baby T since he was in the third game's prehistoric levels, but Baby Coco and Crash, where did they come from, and how did this happen? Well, it was explained by the developers that fake Crash messed with Intro staff, resulting in mishaps of our main heroes and villains. Why did I say villains? Well, it's because originally in the data mines, Baby Cortex and Baby Intro was supposed to make the cut in this Grand Prix, but they got not cut, but pushed back to literally last month, like literally a week ago. Like March 26th is when they finally made their debuts, because they thought that they were cut from the game, but no, they were pushed back until the Grand Prix were over. So let's get started. What did I think of the Back in Time Grand Prix? Well, it definitely was a step up from Twilight Tour. Had a longer track, it was themed around dinosaurs, and the fact that it all had Crash's freaking bushy brows and freaking buck teeth. Seriously, this is why we can't let fake Crash near nice things. But the funny thing is, this track was so far that all the Grand Prix the longest track, and it wards you out with at least 590 coins if you play online with multiply and whopper times enabled. So it's definitely a huge step up, and I appreciate it. The fact of the matter is that Baby T got his own legendary skin, which is basically a fake eyebrow with a fucking yellow polka dotted stripe. Seriously, but a lot of people was okay with Baby Crash's design, but Coco was another story. What's funny is that their voices are the same as their older counterparts, but pitched. The same goes for Baby Cortex and Entropy. Like, I had to include their gameplays in this segment because they were meant to be in this Grand Prix. It was themed around it, but no, two characters got dropped. Well, not dropped, but pushed back months later, until Beanox had more breathing room instead of relying on making more tracks. That's why they basically had to cut back. Since they had to make the tracks, they had to cut back on how many characters they can make the cut each month. But funny enough, with the carts, they were able to bring the nostalgia, and that was Coco's first card. The Probulot 2000, which is Cortex's card. That would have been Baby Cortex in this Grand Prix, but no, he's not in there. But I really like the Back to the Future references they put it in there. And the fact is that the Mammoth card was from the canceled 2010 reboot of Crash Team Racing. Yeah, Crash Team was supposed to get a 2010 reboot, but it got canned. But they brought that Mammoth card back as an official card. So take that as a new addition to to Crash's racing career, since this was unexpected. But I really enjoyed how the track itself was Prehistoric Playground. I really enjoyed how there was even concept art of it, of how this was definitely also a part of the E3 footage that they basically put it in. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. What I was looking forward to was definitely Baby D, since he's pretty much the main guy around here, and he's a dude. He originally had Crunch. He originally was voiced by the same actor behind Crunch, but as I can tell because of his high-pitched voices, but they fixed that with new lines. But still had the same voice actor, but had to get new lines for him since they didn't want to make the same lines from him. So I want to put this in perspective that Baby T, you will always be the Yoshi that I wish I had. Because we already got a Yoshi, but you're basically the PlayStation version of Yoshi. So yeah, it's definitely real, man. I hope you can get along great, man. So with this in mind, I hope that the next Grand Prix is, well, I can tell you this. This is something that was also teased, but I didn't expect it to turn out the way it was supposed to be. But I did have fun with Prehistoric Playground and the baby characters. Well, Baby T mostly, but everybody else was good. So without further ado, I will see you all in the next segment of the video. So, our third Grand Prix is more of a crossover with the Spyro series, most notably the Reignited trilogy. Well, this was definitely expected, since Spyro was originally on the GBA port of Crash Nitro Kart. It makes sense that he would make the cut, but not like this. They literally basically took what was everything about the Reignited trilogy and put it into one track. Like, it's literally it's basically various levels from the first game. Most notably the door that was behind Arsenal when you saw the first game, it finally knows what's behind it. But one of my biggest gripes about it was the fact is that it was going to have 3 characters again, because it was also stated that Ripto and the Sorceress were supposed to be in the game, but 2 got cut. But I'm hoping, just like Baby Cortex and Intro, that they will make the cut at a later date. I don't know. It's of me recording this, but I can tell you this, is that Spyro definitely brought his friend Hunter, but who the hell invited Nasty North? I don't know why. The carts are cool, the paint jobs are cool, the rims are definitely cool, but yeah, the track itself is the only track besides Hyper Speedway to have portals, and it's definitely exceptional, since it's another track that was like a little shorter than the Twilight Tour, but it's a crossover. It's basically a crossover. It's what I wanted it, but there were a lot of things. Costumes were great, and at this point, I wouldn't expected it. So keep this in mind when I'm basically going through the Spyro Grand Prix. I really like how they made this set. The gems were basically the gems were replaced with Wumpa fruit, for instance. The crates were replaced with chests, and the fact of the matter is that it's Spyro. I played this dude from beginning to end, man. It was definitely not expected, but keep this in mind, it was a lot of fun doing it. So it was good to see my Papa Boy finally making the cut in a crossover game. Like, he was going up against his other counterpart, Crash, because them were neck and neck back in the 90s and 2000s. So it makes sense that they make their cut back here. But without further ado, I will see you all in the next one. Alright, now it's time for these Grand Prix to go somewhere. In October of 2019, we were introduced to what was most notably a definitely upcoming Grand Prix. This one was definitely based on villains, and it's Halloween themed. Spooktacular, or Spooky Grand Prix you would call it. One of my biggest things about this was the fact is that Brio Mo and Nina was supposed to be another car back in 2003, but it got cut because of time constraints. This Grand Prix pretty much fixed what was broken by Universal Interactive back in the day. So pretty much Beanox had to clean up, was pretty much on damage control. What they did here was that they basically took what was inspired by Crash to Insanity and put it on a track. It was based on Nina's psyche, pretty much fermented mind, but it's obviously pretty much Academy of Evil. It's obviously because inside the haunted house is pretty much pictures of Emily and the twins. It makes sense that they were basically cameos in there. I knew those birds and her would show up, but I really like how they finally get Nina. Funny enough, Debbie Derryberry came in and did Nina's voice. The cards for this Grand Prix were definitely on par, man. They would have some of the best, man. They really went with the Phantom, the Skull Rider, and the Nihilus. I mean, yeah, it's definitely a huge step up from Spyro Grand Prix. In fact, it was a step up from all of them. And another little bonus, if you saw it before, I added in the fixed version of Real Woo in the gameplay, as he too was supposed to be in Nitro Kart, but he too got cut. So it makes sense that I put the fixed version of him in this Grand Prix, since all 4 of them together were going to be in this game, along with Kamiko Joe. But yeah, for Nitro Kart. But I really like this track, and I know it's short in the same span as Spyro, but it's the visuals that basically got me interested. The fact is that it's a huge nod to Twinsanity. What could you expect? Come on, man. It was obviously Nina was definitely the star of this show, and the fact of the matter is that not a lot of fans really. There's not really much of a Nina fan base. There are Nina Cortex fans out there, but it's not enough compared to pretty much Coco, Tana, or even the Nitro Squad. Not enough. So there's a reason why I have a huge appreciation for Derryberry doing the voiceovers for Nina, since her previous voice actor could not, reprise a role, since they only had additional voices for what they have now. Anyway, on to the next Grand Prix, in which I did expect. How can I sum up this Grand Prix? It's crazy, chaotic, and the fact of the matter is that he even had Ebenezer, Pasadena, Koala Kong, and a freaking King Chicken. Oh, come on, you cannot be serious. They literally made a Grand Prix that is around circus units, and I love it. The visuals were awesome, but the only gripe I had about the track is the length. Why is it a goddamn oval? I don't understand this. But having King Chicken as a gag character is pretty damn funny, I can tell you that, man. The carts are definitely up to snuff. I can think that the Nitro Bumper Cart is somewhat of a nod to Crash Bash. You guys let me know in the comments if it's somewhat of a nod. But I know that the Daredevil and the Press Rusher were tag team racing carts that were brought over. And the fact of the matter is that now, to all the Pasadena fans, you can now rejoice now. Because definitely a spoof up. It's more chaotic than ever. This Grand Prix almost came with a new game mode, Ring Rally. It was definitely something refreshing to do. And not only that, it gives you more Whopper coins every time you complete a certain number of laps. If you complete 8 laps, you get a buttload of coins if you do it. But I really like the fact that Debbie Derry, who not only voiced Nina in the last Grand Prix, but she voiced Pasadena in this one, so she basically came with the clutch. I'm surprised that John DiMaggio voiced Ebenezer Von Clutch, because I know he can do various accents on different based on foreign languages and pretty much heritage. So it makes sense that he would do it. Koala Kong is voiced by his respective voice actor, and King Chicken, I don't know who he's voiced by, but I give props to them to basically being a gag character. But that leaves me one speculation. And one thing I did mention was the carts. Well, I already did the carts, but the wheels were definitely neon based. Paint jobs were animated, and so were, if I think I left out in the Spooky Grand Prix, was that there were spectral rims and spectral wheels. So yeah, definitely huge steps up, and it animates. It's freaking cool. And the fact is that we're in a literal carnival, man, in Neon Circus. And that's pretty much all there is to it for it. And the fact that Koala Kong is the main guy behind it. He got his own track and everything, so it makes sense. But let's just say that this isn't the end of big surprises and twists that we have out. So, without further ado, let's jump into the next Grand Prix and what I have to say. better way to end off 2019 is with the Grand Prix no one expected. Even though it's Christmas themed, we didn't know what characters were gonna make the cut. But it turns out, everybody was shocked. Rillaroo, like, if you saw the Spooktacular segment of the video, I used the fixed Rillaroo gameplay. But here, we have the original Rillaroo that wasn't faithful to its Crash Bash redesign, but we kept it anyway as a reminder of what not to do when redesigning the character for HD graphics. But let's just say that Gingerbread Joy White was definitely a welcome addition. It's Christmas themed, and the fact that this and Nina's Nightmare were the only two tracks to be themed around holidays. So it would have made sense that we get a Christmas themed track, and the least playable track since, you know, no one's gonna be playing around Christmas. They're probably gonna play around Christmas time. But funny enough, not only did Chicken Stew, who were the announcers throughout the Grand Prix, finally became playable, but the original redesign of Rillaroo made the cut in the game since he was first revealed to be in the game before he got fixed 3 months later. Yaya the Panda was from the mobile games that also was going to make the cut, as she too got requested. Like, the fans was in on it hard to make sure that everybody's included in the game. Everybody. And what's more is that I even add a little bonus by adding, if you did not see it, a gameplay of the lab assist was later on to be pretty much included in the March 2020 patch of the game. And it's really cool that they really went all out to make sure they're satisfied the fan base. It was basically my top popular band, to be honest with you. But the big star of this was Hasty, aka Fasty, aka Triple, aka the misconcepted character. Yup, if you actually saw King Guy's video on the origins of Hasty, you know that Bob Raphael was definitely a designer who made Triple what meant for a friend's website, but got mixed up in the CTR sketches. This conception led off for 20 years until Beyond decided to dig up the remains and decided to create it. Now, the code name was Fasty, but the final name was Hasty. And he even got a new voice actor with him, Ronnie Damon, who you know him as Hunter in Pinstripe. So it makes sense that you would bring someone who's on speed dial to do voiceovers for this character, and I love it. He even have his jacket that has some patches that represent early Activision games of the 80s. But a lot of people really liked it. Remember when I said about Pasadena getting her fan base back? Well, Yaya the Panda finally got her fan base. So there you go. You got a Yaya gang and the Pasadena gang. There you go. But I still want my Nina gang though. But yeah, Gingerbread Joy White was definitely a step up from Neon Circus Grand Prix. But like I said, the coin payouts could definitely use some work. But I really enjoy the fact is that Beanox listened to the fans, man. It's really cool that we finally got what we needed. Pretty much everybody's here. But to give a little bit of a summary up, man, 92 was the start. Back in Time was definitely up to snuff. Spyro was definitely its crossover that we've gotten. Spooky Nightmare, well, keep this in mind, guys, man. As me recording this, I am practically nearly tired, and I wanted to make sure to get this out, man. It was really bad. It's really bad that I had to basically go through all these videos, but to put it simply, Winter Festival, as the name is definitely a Grand Prix to remember. But I'm hoping for the future of CTR in general. But we're not done yet. We have 2 more Grand Prix, and they're probably gonna get a shorter, summary, since they only had 1 character added, and they're pretty much boss characters from those games. So without further ado, it's time to move on to the next segment. Well, short segment if I ever pretty much recall, in my opinion. On to the next. I'm calling it now. Mad Max Fury Road and other apocalyptic-based movies. I told you so. When we heard that the next Grand Prix was teased to be a post-apocalyptic, I'm like, yep, Mad Max Fury Road, Mad Max series all over the place. And the fact that the character who's gonna be starring in it was none other than Mega Mix. People were like, wait, what? Mega Mix from the Huge Adventure? You gotta be kidding me. No way, bro. Not gonna happen. And turns out, the character render was revealed, and everybody was like, Beanox, you got lucky. Because everybody I thought that everybody was gonna be like, ew, this character is not what we wanted. and not what we expected. But no, they made him tolerable by just combining 4 character models into one, and it's literally really a fun to play as this dude. This Lou is a little abomination, and I love it. The track itself, Mega Mix Mania, is definitely had a lot of newness. It actually starts off with what's left of Rube's Tubes. So think of this track as the only track to get a continuation from a previous track, but ruins. And the fact is that the ship was Inge's battleship from Twinsanity, another callback. And the fact is that it even has some cameos of Rust the Walrus if you did that chase sequence in Twinsanity. This track is riddled with so many nods to Twinsanity that I couldn't have a laugh. The mask for this Grand Prix, as I did not explain in the Spyro Grand Prix, had sparks. This one had Apo, basically a fusion of Uka and Aku, and they were inspired by their designs from the Radical games, most notably Mind of a Mutant and Clash of the Titans. So it makes sense that they would make the cut, but I did not expect it. Like, a lot of people thought it was a new mask was coming in, but no, it's definitely a fused mask that was definitely ready for Pokemon Mythic. The skins, however, were definitely of the snuff. Did I ever talk about skins in my Like I said, all skins in these Grand Prix are cool, bro. Always have bringing life into these Grand Prix. But the fact that Mega Mix came in and just pretty much just dominated everything. Everybody's pretty much just Pokemon. It's like everybody died except the main cast. Even Nina got a new skin from this Pokemon field. Even Mega Mix himself got a robotic legendary skin, man, bro. But yeah, man, it's pretty much awesome to have a new track that's post-apocalyptic, man. A change of pace. But there's one track left, and one Grand Prix left. What could it be? Find out in the next one. And thus we come to an end, the final Grand Prix of Nitro Fueled, aka the Gasmoxia Grand Prix. This was on everybody's minds at the time. Most notably last month was, where would the last Grand Prix take place? And Beanox City is in space. None other than the planet Gasmoxia itself. Another callback to Crash Bash, and a callback to Nitrous Oxide's homeworld. Well, Nitrous Oxide's some hinted at it. This Grand Prix is pretty much did wound up with a bang, and it was considered the last one to be updated with a new track. It was inspired by pretty much various food wars between various food companies, most notably pizza and hamburgers. The question is, who would you choose? So, Nitrous Oxide decided to hijack CTR TV and decided to sponsor it and partner up with them in order to get the man himself, Emperor Velo the 27th, on the track. People wanted Emperor Velo to be in the game. We already got the little Velo, but what about the big dude? Guess what? He's finally in. Now you guys can stop asking. But I really like it. I really like how the space battles and everything going on up there. The fact that Gasmoxia is at war with itself, between food itself. But funny enough, that who would eat toxic burgers and nuclear pizzas? Am I right? Okay, but not funny. But keep this in mind. I really like the carts. And the fact is that one thing I didn't mention in the Nitro, the Neon Circus Grand Prix was that pretty much Tana, since the Spooky Grand Prix, was that Tana and the Nitro Squad got legendary skins. Tana got 2, well actually she got 3. She got 3, and the podium, and pretty much Megumi, Amy, Liz, and all of them. Pretty much everybody's getting skins, man. I'm gonna be honest with them. Everybody's getting skins, man. I cannot name them all because there's so many of the cast getting skins. But that leaves back the question: what's left for CTR? To be honest with you, I'll tell you what. It's something I did not expect it, but never thought it would become a reality. But let's just wrap this whole retrospective up as a whole. Gonna be honest. When I found out that the Iron Checkpoint crate was going to be playable, I thought this was a joke. I mean, I thought the King Chicken being included in the game was a gag, but a literal crate as a playable racer? Ooh, what was Beanox thinking? But I basically did my research and turned out this was based on a Reddit post a year ago if characters can be in, well, not options be in the game. They literally said that, what if a crate can be a racer? Beanox took this seriously and literally made this dang crate a fucking racer. That is the funniest thing I ever heard. With that said and done, I think I'm pretty much all but ready to start off Burning Rubber Season 3, to be honest with you. I really want to try to get to it, because plans were with it that I was gonna go back and redo all of the Amy, Megumi, Liz, Isabella, Tana, Nina, Pasadena, Coco, and Yaya's videos. I was going back to do a definitive version, but as of me making this video, I still have no proper confirmation that pretty much this will be the end of CTR updates, to be honest with you, as I wanted to actually do a remake, pretty much a revised version, well, pretty much more of an updated version to fit their own dossiers. This also includes all other characters. Yeah, Crash, Tiny, and everybody else were going to be included in their own respective videos. But that'll have to wait until Crash's own month, which is June. So you got 2 months to wait for that. So as of April 2nd, 2020, you got two months to wait before I basically get back to making any more CTR related videos, since I'm going to be taking a break from doing it. Without further ado, I will see you all in the next video. Take care, guys.